Oh, hey, Feigenbaum.
How are
Good
you?
to see you.
Big sports weekend coming up.
Big. Got what, the Olympics opening ceremonies Friday?
Olympics. We got the Super Bowl happening on Sunday. We've got our guest today is the New Rochelle High School and Middle School Athletic Director.
Hmm. Joe.
Um,
Joe
Very
D.
excited. Joe, is that what they call him? Joe
No,
D?
I
No.
just did.
Okay. I like it.
Probably.
I like it. It rolls off the tongue. We got Joe D coming up. We're going to talk about all things New Rochelle athletics, which you know something about, don't you?
I do. Yeah. I have my youngest daughter is a part of the East Green Wave all girls varsity team. So it's a conglomerate of about 10 schools that make up that team. And another daughter will be hopefully joining the modified softball team for one of the middle schools this spring.
So
So
move your
yeah.
chair over 3 inches to the left. Uh-huh. Yeah, I see. I see what you brought out from the closet.
Did you know that I once scored 2 goals in a high school varsity ice hockey game?
I did not know that.
Yeah.
Who provided the assists on those? Do you remember?
Oh, I don't know. Maybe Neil Fish or Josh Thaw. I don't know.
Shout out.
Oh, no assist. I did it on my own. No, no assist.
Shout out to the New Rochelle hockey team
Yeah.
of 92.
90, 92, 93. Yeah.
Yeah, that's a good group of guys. So was there even a chance that one of your kids was not going to play ice hockey?
It was more my wife who was pushing my oldest daughter to, not pushing, but who said, let's sign her up for a Learn to Play program with the New York Rangers. And she just took it off from there. It's been about 7 years now that she's been playing.
Wow.
So it's a big part of our life. The season's only 7 months long. So every day, every weekend, every night, every morning, it's hockey, hockey,
Oh,
hockey.
that's
Um,
crazy.
yeah, it's a slog. But
What's the
it's
goal? Like, do you feel like, are you pushing? Because women's ice hockey now is huge in a bunch of colleges. Like, are you
yeah.
pushing to
I mean, if
have
she
her play?
doesn't make the pros, NHL or the PWHL, like what a waste.
Right? Do you feel like a lot of
What are we
parents,
doing?
do you feel like a lot of parents are thinking with that hat on, like at your level with your girls? Like, they're thinking of college at least, playing for college?
I think there are some. I'm not sure about on the girls' side, but my daughter also plays co-ed. And there's some parents who probably have some aspirations of their kids going farther. If it's college at a one, two, Division One or Division Two, or I don't know about pros. Because if at this point, if you're at that level, you're probably, if you're in high school, you're going to be at a prep school
Mm-hmm.
to get you to that next level,
Mm-hmm.
or at an elite private school, like I own a prep, let's say, has a good football program. Um, but yeah, I think we say it, but all roads lead to beer leagues usually. Um, so for me and my wife, it's just about them having fun
Yeah.
and enjoying themselves and being active.
Yeah. That's a good
And
lesson.
yeah,
Good lesson for other parents, and probably a topic that we can talk to our next guest about, right? Along with
yeah,
getting his thoughts on what's going on with New Rochelle High School sports and I don't know
sure.
some of the new sports that are coming or that have been coming. Like when we were in high school, there was no women's hockey, there was
No.
no flag football, there was none of these
Yeah, and I think now they even have like bowling. I think there's skiing,
golf.
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 Yeah, I think golf was around, but yeah, it's all these niche sports that are now like mainstream, along with obviously football, basketball, baseball, like soccer. I know is big in New Rochelle.
Yeah,
So yeah, it should be a good conversation.
yeah. Well, let's do it. Should we hit the theme song?
Let's go.
Let's go.
All right, welcome to the next episode of Neuro Now. Today, we're fortunate to have Joe Donaldson, the athletic director from New
Thank you.
Rochelle, New Rochelle High School and New Rochelle Middle Schools to join us to talk about all things athletic within our school system and education. And we welcome you, Joe. Thanks for being with us.
Thank you for having me. It's a privilege to be here.
Yeah,
Andrew and Andrew. I can't
yeah.
forget
Yes.
that.
We
The
won't
original
be.
name, the original name for the podcast was Two Andrews, One Podcast, but we changed it up.
There we go. I like it.
It
Yeah.
won't be hard for you to remember who you're talking to today. So.
Yeah.
Exactly.
So Joe, just give us, if you can start us off, just give us a little background. Like how many years have you been with New Rochelle? I'm pretty sure you came from Yonkers. Tell us a little bit about the transition and some of the things that you've been able to accomplish thus far, and what's still on the roadmap. What exciting things are happening with the New Rochelle Athletic Department.
Thank you. Yeah. So, a little bit about my background. This is my 22nd year in public education. I knew from a young age that I always wanted to be a teacher and pursue education. My mother was a family and consumer science teacher at Clarkstown, South for many years, and my father was a Clarkstown police lieutenant. So really having that strong, public servant background was where I came from, and I pursued my college education at Ithaca College, where I received a Bachelor of Science in Health and Physical Education. And then afterwards, I was fortunate enough to land a position in the Nyack Public Schools. I started teaching middle school health and phys ed, which was something I love. And, I was always into sports. I played basketball, I played lacrosse in high school, played football when I was younger, didn't stick with it. And then from there, I ended up continuing my education at Teachers College, Columbia University, where at the middle school level, was teaching both health and physical education. And the job was very attractive because it was like, oh, I get to teach phys ed, and I was teaching sixth grade health. So I figured pursuing a health education degree would enhance my skills and make me a better teacher in the classroom. After I was at Nyack, I left after I received tenure, and I went over to the Bronxville School District, where I spent 9 years in Bronxville, where I was teaching elementary physical education and running the Bronxville After School Clubs, which is a K through 8 program there. That's a PTA-driven program, predominantly being the liaison between the teachers and the PTA in that role. Um, and that's what really sparked my interest in terms of pursuing the educational administration piece. So at that time, I had went back to Fordham University, where I received a Master of Science in Educational Administration and Supervision. And then from there, I went on to Section 1. I spent a few years at Section 1, really cutting my teeth into the athletic piece, learning the rules, the regulations, the policies of Section 1, which encompasses Rockland, Westchester, Dutchess, and Putnam counties. Um, and that was a nice role, but kind of like I miss being in the schools and being around the kids and being around the games and so on. So after that, I ended up taking a job in Yonkers, where I was got that athletic director experience on that level. And at that time, I also pursued a master's in business administration from Long Island University, um, really understanding the economics behind athletics. And then back in 2023, when the position opened at New Rochelle and Steve Young was retiring, I said, hey, there'd be no better place to go than New Rochelle. I mean, perennially known for having strong athletic programs. And I put my hat in and went on a couple rounds of interviews, and they selected me, which was a privilege. And I'm here today, and that's great. Um, in terms
Almost,
of my
it's almost like a
goals,
small college, right? Like a little
oh,
the size.
absolutely. Like I look at it as New Rochelle is like a Division 3 college.
Yeah.
We've sent so many athletes on to the college and professional level out of high school, probably comparatively to leading the pack amongst other schools in Section 1. So it was really an honor to take on this position. I started in July of 2023. Um, and really, I came in with an ear of, with a close ear towards wanting to listen and coming in with the perspective of what's working, what can we improve upon, and how I can support you. Like in basketball, triple threat position, those were my triple threat questions. So really over this last 2 years, I spent a lot of time meeting with coaches, getting feedback from coaches about, what's working, what we can improve upon, and how I can support you, and capturing that data so I can really understand the needs of each program. And I think that's so important. Really, I look at my role as supporting coaches. My job is the care and feeding of coaches, giving them the resources that they need, but also being um, a role model and a leader in terms of building their strengths as an educational leader. What am I doing to provide more support for our coaches so that they become not only a better coach, but a better person?
Yeah.
Because ultimately, those are the folks that are working with our kids that are setting the example. At the end of the day, I'm looking to build leaders, civic-minded individuals that are empathetic, passionate, and prepared for this global economy. Many of these things we learn from being on a team.
Yeah, that's great. Great info. I have one quick follow up. Can you share the feedback when you first came in and you said you were trying to figure out what are our strengths, what are our weaknesses? Can you share top one strength, top one weakness, or maybe some of the feedback that you said that people were saying we need to change this ASAP? Like, what were some of those top
Yeah,
topics?
that's a great question. So a lot of the feedback that I got was um, we need to upgrade our facilities. We need to provide better opportunities in terms of promoting our sports. We need to provide live stream for our off-site sports such as hockey, such as baseball. How are we promoting those sports? Some of the feedback that I got from coaches were, you know, and this is not anything against the previous leader there. And there are issues that we're working through today. But how do we, use Google Docs to enhance our communication through our athletic schedule so that coaches are aware of practice times? I mean, I always say our programs are growing and our space isn't. So we're becoming like a family that's getting too large for our home. So we have to think outside of the box in terms of getting coaches the practice time that they need, but also working with the schedule that's tight and cumbersome. So a lot of the feedback was I'm not getting the practice time. Many times I'm relocated to a middle school, or the middle school programs have to be canceled because the high school programs don't have enough facilities. And now we got to access the middle schools. So what we really did was we used a new enhanced Google Doc where we have coaches put in their schedule. We look at it closely. We contact the coaches to move things around to accommodate their needs. Because ultimately, at the end of the day, they need that space. These are classrooms without walls. Our athletics programs are an extension of our classroom. It's an education-based athletics team. So that was some of the feedback. Other feedback was, the clock in the gym, the score clock hasn't worked in a decade, and now we can't use the back gym for our freshman basketball games. Um, so we immediately rectified that. I contacted Nevco and we did a PO and an RFP. We have brand new score clocks that are in our gym and in the back gym, making our space more versatile, which is certainly advantageous. We were able to put in a brand new batting cage in our back gym because of baseball. Many times we see in a month from now, I don't know if the snow will be melted. How is our team getting their needs met, being able to bat and hit? So we added a brand new batting cage in there. And if you go into our gym, you can see it's just outstanding. I would say that we rival many of the Section 1 schools in terms of our facilities being, top notch.
When is
And that's important to the coaches and important to the kids because when they see things are being cared for and upgraded, it shows that we care and that they're part of something much larger than themselves.
you have a timeline for when the pool is going to open back up?
So, that's a topic right now that I know has been in the works at our board meetings and stuff like that. I think the board addressed the community in regards to the pool back on November 6th of last year. And I know that they were carefully looking at flood mitigation. I think, Andrew, the biggest thing that the district is worried about is redoing the entire pool and then it flooding again.
Right.
And simply put, if you look at where Clove Road is and you look at where that pool is, if
Below grade.
you go down into that pump room from where you are at Daylight on Clove Road, it's probably 60 feet below grade.
Right.
So just that grade alone is subject, with it being so low, to potentially flooding again. And I think
Right.
that the district is, even though it's taking longer, they're really looking at it hawkishly so that we don't run into a every year 100-year storm now that happens every 5 years, and now the pool floods again, and people are just beside themselves.
Yeah. I know that the front of the school where all the new athletic fields are, the turf fields, that sustained some significant damage after the last major storm as well.
Yes, there was some flooding along the side of the McKenna Field, as well as some of the um, water started to encroach upon the building, and
Right.
there was a little bit of water that did get in the pool area. But I know that the district is carefully looking at that with our engineers. So hopefully there'll be some good news and more updates as time goes on throughout the spring. Hey, when our stands are full, that's the best thing that we want. Um, what we're doing is we're doing morning announcements. We're trying to promote our games. We're also trying to promote our games afterwards and give updates with our scores on how our teams are doing through Sports U. Our Director of Public Information, Monica McCaffrey, we always provide updates to her. We'll always say, come out to the game today, making announcements for varsity football, basketball, just providing the schedules so that folks can come out. I think one of the nicest things was we won a gold ball this year in varsity boys soccer, and come late fall, our stadium at McKenna was packed, and you can hear the cheering and the encouragement, and that's really what it's about. It's about bringing the community together, and athletics is a great way to do that. So we're trying to bolster support. We're trying to get our fans in. We're trying to encourage our students not only to come out for our teams, but also support our teams. We've been trying to work with different teams to come out, like it was senior night earlier this week for our girls program. Our boys basketball program was there to support them and vice versa. So really building that sense of community is so important. And even stretching down to the middle school levels. I mean, I find sometimes with the high school being so big that, I don't get down to the middle school as much as I would like to, but that's really where it all starts. And then making announcements for at the middle schools, highlighting our programs. Those are big things that go a long way. So yeah, I mean, it's great when our stadium is packed, when our ice rink is packed, when our tennis courts are full.
Yeah.
That's ultimately what we want. I think one of the nicest things was back in early September when Ramapo came in for our first football game of the year. Stadium was packed, the snack bar was open, and I had folks saying to me, "This is the old New Rochelle that I remember." And that was something that made me feel confident about how this program and how this department is moving. One of the things that I'm interested in doing is getting a kiosk right at the front of the school so that our athletic announcements and our athletic games are rolling so that when people drive by or walking by, they can see the events on the kiosk that are listed for the day. Varsity boys basketball, 5 p.m., and tennis, so that there's a listing each day. And I think that that would be very helpful just
Yeah.
from an outer shell of it.
Yeah, it's a good idea. The Olympic opening ceremonies are coming up in a few days, and I was looking at some of the sports, newer sports for winter and for Summer Olympics, and I knew we were going to have you on, so I wanted to ask you this question. I love that, there's like ping pong coming to the Summer Olympics, or maybe it's been a part of the Olympics, and flag football, and they're bringing cricket back. And I wanted to ask you, are there new sports coming to the high school, the middle school? Maybe they're already, maybe there's something coming that might be interesting for people. And are you getting a lot of any of the parents like coming to you and saying, "Oh, well, there's this, people are playing bocce, or I don't know, whatever it is. Like we should start a team." Like what are some of those conversations like?
That's a great question. So one of the things I'm most proud of is we instituted JV girls flag football 3 years ago. And not only was it such a crowd pleaser, we had so many young ladies come out. And with being in its first year, we almost won a section title. We were up at Lakeland and lost to Scarsdale, very close game. And Scarsdale's been in existence with their flag football program for over 6 years.
Wow,
So that was a huge accomplishment for us. And I'm also pleased to announce that we were able to add a JV girls flag football team this year as well at the high school. Last year, we weren't able to do that due to budget constraints, and this year we were able to make that happen. Um, like I said, there is a big appetite for flag football, not just in New Rochelle, but regionally and throughout the United States. We're seeing those numbers grow robustly. Um, so that was definitely needed. I think in terms of lifetime leisure activities, that's very important. You know, the tennis, the golf. One of the things that I'm looking at long term, Andrew, is potentially bringing a row team to the school.
oh wow,
I always say we're a Sound Shore community. Why not have that opportunity? So I've reached out and met with some of my partners that have stuck a toe in this, other athletic directors, so to speak, um, at Pelham and at Scarsdale. They both have row programs that are run through the Pelham Row Club. So we're going to take a look at exploring what those options are, and hopefully in a few years we'll have our own rowboats out on the Sound. So that's something that I have an eye towards as well.
that's fun.
Um,
Yeah.
like I know that we have a boys golf program. I'd also like to additionally add girls golf. One of the things that I did was a Title IX audit when I got to the school, taking a careful look at what programs are we providing for our girls, what programs are we providing for our boys, and looking at similarities and differences. And one of those things that I unearthed was that we're offering golf for boys, but we're not offering golf for girls as a separate team, and that's an issue for me. We do have young ladies that will play, but they can link up with the boys. I want to have a separate team for that. I think that would just be more conducive, especially with the interest level from our young ladies playing golf.
You
I think in terms of the flag football, some of the districts, such as Scarsdale, Chappaqua, and I believe Byram Hills, I think on the docket next year, they're going to try to implement modified JV girls flag football. So definitely have an eye towards that over time as well. Um, and pickleball has been a very, very, very popular sport. What we did last summer is we actually refurbished our tennis courts, thanks to our facilities department working collaboratively with Keith Watkins. He's been terrific. So I said, in terms of looking forward, not only redo and repurpose our tennis court, but let's put, you know, pickleball lines on there as well so that the community can benefit from it. We have pickleball lines and we can utilize those courts. They'll be more
I didn't know
versatile.
that. I
So,
started playing last summer, and I only thought Pine Brook was the only place, the Pine Brook courts that were available to the community for pickleball. So it's good to know that the high school.
yeah, definitely. So really in terms of adding more, I would say the girls flag football, I would say down the line rowing. And if Section 1 does implement it and becomes sanctioned, pickleball, but we also also offer rugby as well.
Oh,
And
that's
we're one of the very few school districts in the region that offers girls and boys rugby. So I'm very proud of that, and that's been going on for a long time. Coach Mike McKay, who you might know, he was a teacher probably when you
Yep.
guys were in high
Yep.
school.
He was my teacher.
He's still with the program today. So that's a nice opportunity. We really do offer a lot. We do.
yeah, that's
Mike
great.
was my ELA teacher in 11th grade, I think. Just pivoting back to girls sports. My daughter plays for the East Green Wave, and for those listening, that is the varsity ice hockey team for girls who live in Lower Westchester. And I know that New Rochelle and you are the lead athletic department for that. So I just want to personally thank you for supporting them and another girls team. And I know that it's been in existence for 5+ years or so. And they just won the Section 1 championship last week, and they're moving on to in the state tournament next week.
That's
Yeah.
exciting. Very cool.
So 2 years ago, my colleagues came to me and said, "Hey, we want to continue girls ice hockey." And Tess Brogan from Clarkstown North is really the one. This was her brainchild. Probably about 7 or 8 years ago, she came to the section when I was there and said, "Hey, look, I really feel as though we can start a girls ice hockey program." And after multiple meetings and meeting with tons of different people and convincing the section and the athletic directors that this was needed, now she turned vision into reality. And now, 7 years later, we have 4 teams within the section. And, I'm pleased to say that our Southern Westchester team, our girls are, like you said, they're not only highly competitive, but now they're competing at the next level for a championship section title. So I feel as though doing this work is something that I signed up for, that I want to provide these opportunities. And this team has such a ripple effect on all of the schools in the Southern Westchester region, benefiting our girls. So it's really a privilege to be doing it. And
Yeah.
Coach Jed Shahar is a leader amongst leaders. He's doing a really good job with that team, and I'm just so pleased with
Yeah.
the way that it's working out.
Well, thank you for the support. We, as a parent of a player, appreciate it.
Yeah. So
Um,
I will tell you too, they're going up 3 hours, 4 hours north.
Glens
So
Falls.
I said, let's get them a coach bus.
Yeah.
nice. I'm sure they'll appreciate that.
Absolutely.
We have all these sports at New Rochelle High School that you mentioned. Walk us through what the process is for colleges coming to you, coming to the coaches, and wanting to recruit them for specific colleges. You know, I can only speak to, so my daughter's at Wisconsin now, and I always read about the NIL and people paying for players to come from other colleges. Hopefully, we're not at that level for high school yet, but walk us through that process and what you know of what happens, when colleges want to pick out the best athletes from all these high schools.
Yeah. So, you know, That's an interesting process. I would say that the single most important thing, and I tell this to the coaches, is what does that academic transcript look like, especially from the student athlete's perspective. So usually the way that it works is if a college or a university is interested in one of our players, they'll reach out via a letter, either an email to myself or the coach asking the coach for more information about this student athlete. And usually the first questions that I get are, you know, does this student have a 3.0 GPA or better? And how is the student's character in terms of who they are as a person? Because ultimately, no, we know with the NIL and the way things are now that this is a business. And at the end of the day, it's about protecting our kids, it's about protecting our athletes. And um, one of the things that we did back on January 5th is we did a college athletic recruitment day where I had a bunch of folks from different colleges and universities, Iona, some of our school counselors, speak about this to our student athletes that were interested. They'll reach out to the athletic director or the coach. We'll put them in contact with the coach at that college level. Sometimes they'll want to do a site visit or they'll want to meet and see the coach, the team. Um, Sometimes they'll ask for our huddle videos and our live stream, and I think that that's one of the big things that we've enhanced because many times with technology, if a school's across the country, we just send the live stream of the games and they can be broken down and college coaches get a better look at what those athletes are capable of. Um, then what ends up happening is, for this year, we had a young lady that's receiving a full scholarship to Siena on a basketball scholarship. Um, I would say in terms of full academic rides, that's very few and far between.
Like, do you have a
Um,
percentage? Like what approximate percentage of student athletes are actually getting full rides?
I would say less than 5%.
Wow.
That's how highly competitive as it is. And when they say the full ride, that's usually at the Division 1 level. Division 2 and 3 becomes a little bit different. They can do aid, they can shift things around, but it's really a select few group of folks.
What
But really putting that college coach in connection with our coaches is what my job is. And then shepherding that process. If the college coach wants to meet with my coach and myself and the student, we can have those conversations. Then it usually transfers to meeting with the school guidance counselor, taking a look at that academic transcript, credit loads and stuff like that. As you guys know, this is really, it's like, I don't know, buying a home. It's an investment in someone that has to be carefully looked at and considered on all ends. Um, and our coaches really do a good job of following up. I mean, I can speak to our head football coach, Ray Rett. He took probably 6 or 7 young men up to Utica last year that Utica was interested in some of our players, and 4 of those young men actually are at Utica now playing football. Um, we have many coaches that will do site visits with kids to universities where they walk around, they meet the coaches, they learn about the school. So a lot of our coaches go above and beyond and do those things as well. I think those are the most impactful. Coaches going with their athletes to the actual school, meeting the university coaches or college coaches, and then being able to see what this is about. That's happening and that's meaningful. So really that's how that process goes in
Okay.
terms of it all.
Yeah.
what's your take on, and it seems like this has kind of changed in the last 20 years or so, like rec has pretty much gone by the wayside and it's all travel, 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 AAU, private lessons and like correct me if I'm wrong, but like travel teams now taking the lead on the student athletes, and the school is maybe a backseat, and like this season is and I'm talking more for the major sports, maybe is more like, oh yeah, and I'm playing varsity, but it's really my focus is on travel and the private teams and my private lessons. And in the end, mostly everybody lands in the beer league anyway. But what's your take? Is it the parents are pushing hard? Is it the kids really want this? And are the public schools kind of like second fiddle almost?
That's a great question. And that's something that all of my colleagues are grappling with right now. It's this pay to play
Right.
um, uh, aspect of things. And as a father of a ice hockey player, we see a lot of that with ice hockey where you're playing on this travel team, and then
Right.
all of a sudden the travel coach has these expectations of your schedule, and now the school coach has these expectations, and you're stuck between a rock and a
Hmm.
hard place as to what you're going to do. Um, so I would say in general that the pay to play programs have adversely impacted high school athletics to some degree, in terms of the fact that if someone's paying a coach on the side to work with their son or daughter or play on a team, they might oftentimes have an inflated or distorted viewpoint of what their actual athletic capabilities are. And commonly we hear, "Oh, my son, he's been a starter on the AAU basketball team for the last 3 years. He's been a 20-point scorer, and now he's barely seeing the court on the high school team."
Right.
We see a lot of those common through lines that are occurring. Um, and I would say, well, if you're paying someone to coach your kid, or you're paying a AAU coach, they eventually want that funding, right? That's a funding stream for them. And they might not always be as honest or as frank as a high school coach that really there's no fee to play. You're a resident of New Rochelle, your parents pay taxes, but there's no fee. Um, and sometimes what we're seeing is there's inconsistencies between what their athletic capabilities actually are, if that makes sense.
Yeah.
Um, and I always say to our student athletes who are grappling back and forth with this, is there's no better place to play than for your own school. I mean,
Yeah,
at the end of the day, I mean,
very proud, right? We can tell
yeah,
from over Andrew's right shoulder, he's very proud of his
he
affiliation
can't,
with New
he
Rochelle
can't, he
Hospital.
can't, he can't give that up. And,
Right.
and that's something that stays with us for a long period of time. And think about that. You guys still bleed purple,
Yeah.
right?
Yeah.
And you graduated that, and think about those memories that you had. Probably the relationships that you cultivated 25 years ago at New Rochelle High School are what has kept you together today. And think about how many generations have come through New Rochelle High School and developed those solid relationships through the athletic venue and the athletic portal, um,
Good point.
which is great, you know.
Any just overall advice for parents who may want their kids to get involved with New Rochelle athletics?
I would say ask questions, reach out to the athletic department. Um, I have an open door. Come in, speak with me, uh, go to our website, take a look at what we're offering. If you have questions about anything, reach out. We do communicate via Parent Square so that our registration is communicated throughout the whole entire city so that folks can be informed as to when our sports programs are being offered in the fall, winter, and spring. Um, and then really just try to come to our games, be an advocate, be the biggest fan. really that's important because in this department, we realize that relationships are extremely important and that at the end of the day, we're one big family and we want to come out and support one another. We're all Huguenots at heart
Right.
Yes,
and that's important. But I think, as we know, life is all about asking the right questions. So if there's something that seems off or there's something that you have a question about, just in terms of anything, it's always great to just call or shoot an email. And I really pride myself on getting back to people fast.
that's great. Great info. I failed to ask you, what does the CAA after your name stand for?
Oh, so CAA stands for Certified Athletic Administrator.
Okay,
So I
thank
don't want to be like fancy with my MBAs or other, but commonly that's a title that athletic directors will put after their name, showing that they're certified in this line of work.
you. Good. That clears up a lot. Thank you for that.
One final question as we are on the heading into Super Bowl Sunday here. Um, who's your pick? What do you got?
I don't know. Seattle looks pretty good. So I don't know. I spend a lot of time thinking about our own programs, but
Okay.
I'll
Well, we're going to
enjoy
hold you
it.
to Seattle. That's
Yeah.
what.
Oh,
But
didn't we have a New Rochelle alumni who played for Seattle? I feel like when I was doing some research for this, Courtney Green. Does that sound familiar?
yes, Courtney Green, and coincidentally, Andrew, his brother, George Green, is the varsity girls track coach, and they just won at the Melrose games this past weekend down at the Armory, the 4x100. So
Nice.
Very cool.
And,
our track team is definitely moving the needle. Very good memory in terms of.
and two of our classmates from high school, Rasan Krabby Young and
Shout
Greg
out to
Foster,
Gravy.
are coaches to this day with New Rochelle. So
Yeah.
we
Shout out to
support
those
them.
guys.
And that's one thing that I want to say is that if you take a look at our coaching staff and you look at other departments, athletic departments, many of our coaches have been there for a long period of time, and that was also a big decision in terms of me looking at this district. Like, what is the turnover rate of coaches, and how long have a coaches actually been in these roles? And New Rochelle, there's been a lot of consistency with our coaches being there for a decade or more.
Yeah.
Great.
Well, you guys heard it here first. Athletic Director Joe Donaldson is taking the Seahawks and giving points.
Double down.
Double down. Okay. We do not condone gambling on this podcast,
Very true.
right?
Very true.
Especially underage gambling. So uh, we'll cut that out. But thank you, Joe, so
Thanks,
much
Joe.
for being a guest with us, and we really appreciate your time, and we hope to hear good things from our athletic department in the future.
Thank you, Andrew. Thank you, Andrew. It was a
We-
pleasure to be here. I can't thank you enough. I'm flattered to have this opportunity.
All right. Thanks for joining us.